Now, today we're going to be looking at ideas for making accommodation more sustainable, making its climate impact more transparent to customers, and seeing how providers, how different aggregators can work with accommodation providers to get that information to consumers.
And I'm glad to say that we're doing a tremendous effort to promote sustainability and to guide companies and workers and locals in the sustainability path, but we need to do more. And one very small example, now that we're talking about accommodation, a 5-star hotel can no longer be a 5-star hotel if they don't have principles of accommodation, of sustainability. We cannot classify 5 stars or 4 stars or whatever it is just because they have slippers inside their room or they have reception 24 hours a day. It's not possible. And this has to be an European movement.
Of course, we know that the tourism ecosystem, unfortunately, is one of the ecosystems actually the most hit by the COVID-related crisis, which has meant for us that we have been very, very busy in trying to restore it and restore travel as quickly as possible. And
so based on these two premises, I have suggested the following in our report that I think that it fits here. First, develop a roadmap for sustainable tourism that can include these innovative measures to reduce the climate and the environmental footprint of the sector. Then put into operation the existing European tourism indicator systems, the so-called ETIs, in line with the UN WTO indicators for sustainable tourism.
Put it very simply, we want to stimulate both the demand and the supply side. And the clear challenge lies in reconciling the sustainability goals with where many consumers and our accommodations stand today. To put it out there, less than 1% of our accommodations today is actually certified according to any type of green certification standards, not even talking about an EU label yet.
And I think the challenge that we were facing was exactly what's been also highlighted by earlier speakers. How do you make sure that you have the smaller players not feeling that it's too overwhelming to actually join a scheme and get certified and then just give up in the process?
So I think the platforms have actually got a bigger role to play in driving behavior change among consumers, because eventually the whole movement on sustainability will gain pace if we as consumers are willing to put our money where our mouth is. So if we can say ABC hotel is more sustainable than the one in next door to them, but it costs £5 extra a night, and giving consumers the nudge to pay that premium for a more sustainable hotel, that will incentivize and accelerate the pace of action as well. So we often talk about sustainability almost as if it's going to penalize people either by giving them a lower ranking or cause some sort of disadvantage. And I think we need to probably look at a more positive spin on it. And each one of us as consumers have a role to play there.
Marianne, let me get you to respond to that. I mean, do platforms have an obligation to or responsibility to nudge consumers in a certain direction?
Absolutely. So I don't think that Luis was pointing fingers.
I agree with the consumers, but you need to push also the suppliers.
Yes,
and we're
also agree with you on that one. Okay. So I'm not here to argue against you, but what I do think is that what we need to keep in mind is that in order for us to start incentivizing our accommodations to show them better to our consumers, that scope of sustainable supply needs to grow. Because otherwise, if we do this now, we're going to incentivize the big ones and leave the SMEs behind.
My feeling is that with the crisis that we are currently going through as industry, as world, with Corona, with the COVID-19 infections, while we are hopefully getting out of this soon, you will see a move of travelers that that are also environmentally conscious.